Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Decker team. And today I have a super special guest.
Hello, hello.
Kelly. Kelly is, native of this area, right?
I am, close by, Kingston.
Okay. And now
I live in Panama right now.
Panama.
I'm
jealous.
Yeah. You should be.
I've never been to Panama, but I'm going to go visit you.
You betcha.
So today we're going to talk about taking care of one of probably most Canadians' largest assets. Mm-hmm. And that would be their home.
Their home.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kelly's got some questions for me, and I don't know if they know, but Kelly is one of the investors and a prime... What's your job in Panama for Keller Williams?
So I'm a part of a group of investors that have the rights of Keller Williams for the entire country of Panama, and I'm the regional director. It's a big role. I'm recruiting people who would like to own franchises in Panama.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm pretty ignorant about the country of Panama, because I figured it was pretty small. It's just like the width
nice
of the country is the width of the Panama Canal, or is there more to the country?
Oh yeah, no, it's an amazing country. I mean, from one end to the other, it borders Colombia and Costa Rica. So it's right, and the landscape is beautiful. You have the Pacific and the Atlantic, so it's beautiful. You have volcanic beaches, and you have white, beautiful crystal beaches, sand beaches.
Oh, and which side should I go to if I want the white sand beach?
You actually, on both sides, they offer both.
Oh, really?
So it just depends. So on the Pacific side, if you go a little bit out into the Pearl Islands, you'll find beautiful white sand and crystal blue water. Okay. So you do have to come and visit.
I will come and visit.
You have to come and visit.
Because I really don't like being ignorant about certain parts of the country, and I learn a lot by going as opposed to reading about countries.
Well, then perfect.
Yeah. So let's go back to real estate for a second. So, you've got some questions for me.
I do. When is it right to sell, and when is it not, Ken?
Well, that's a great question, because I'm a big buy and hold real estate. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of times the real estate that someone owns may not be the right type of property for a rental property. And if it is, quite often I'll recommend that they keep that property and then go buy their next residential property, if they can afford to get the down payment either out of the property they now have or they've saved it up. Mm-hmm. So when's the right time to sell? Well, the market goes up and down. Not down very much in Ottawa, mostly up, which is a good thing. So typically I say to people, if you're going to sell, it's because you're maybe moving out of country, out of province, or out of the city. And that's another time I don't necessarily recommend someone to keep it as an investment, is because when you're an absentee landlord, that's not a very good thing. So I think a lot of people should sell their house if they're moving to another city. Okay.
Does that also apply if they buy a property internationally?
Well, again, internationally, I think it's very important if they're going to buy a property that is like an investment property. Like many people will buy Florida properties near Disney and rent them out or whatever, or if they're going to buy in Panama. The secret is to know a great real estate agent and a great property manager.
That's key.
Because if you don't have a great property manager, you're going to have headaches. And if you're an absentee landlord and you go across the world to go to your property because it's got problems, that's not necessarily what you want to be doing.
How is the market doing right now?
Well, that's a great question, Kelly. And it depends. Are you asking from a buyer's perspective or a seller's perspective?
Well, why don't you tell me from the seller's perspective, and then we'll go right into the buyer's perspective.
Okay, well, seller's perspective, the market is good. There's a lot of inventory, though.
Okay.
So when I say the market's good, that means there is actually a lot of people buying. Oh. So last year we had our strongest year in 5 years, and this year's shaping up as a very strong buyer, like people buying property. Now, it's still a buyer's market because in many cases, there's too much inventory still.
Okay.
Now, here's the good news.
Okay.
For the last couple of months, the inventory's been dropping slightly over what it was the year before the same month. So as inventories come down, this is the first time in about 7 years inventories have started to go down as opposed to up. Still the strong demand and not quite as many coming on the market as there were.
Okay.
And I think the builders have dialed back their construction a bit because they were overbuilding.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then it depends on your micro specific area. So there are still certain areas that are a strong seller's market, like geographic little neighborhoods. You know, if you're in Westboro or the Glebe or something, you may be in a market that actually has limited supply and more buyers than it has supply.
Wow.
And then you're actually so that's why you really need a real estate agent to
knows
really knows their market, knows to watch the trends to see whether prices are going up or down. The condo market, the prices have still been going down a little bit. And I was explaining recently to a client, if the market's going down, well, let's go if the market's going up. If the market's going up, it's okay to price your property above what the last one sold at. Because even if you overprice it, if you wait long enough, the market will catch you and your house will sell. Okay. If the market's going down, you also need to lead the market. But what that means is you've got to be below what the last one sold at, not above it.
So how do you guarantee the protection of your investment?
There is no guarantee of the protection of your investment.
So what sort of steps would you advise your clients to take?
Okay, so if you're going to protect your real estate investment, well, first of all, have insurance on it.
Okay.
That's the first step. But the second step is don't delay maintenance. So if have someone check your roof, for instance. I've had mine checked every year now, and it's $99 to have someone go around and verify that all the shingles are in place, that the caulking's good, your joints, your valleys, all that's good. Now, I think some people are afraid to have someone inspect their roof because then they're going to go, oh yeah, you need a new roof, new shingles,
so
right?
If you
and
wait,
that's
bigger
$7,000
problem.
or $12,000.
Yes, yeah.
But what they are able to do is, if there's any tabs that are lifted or blown off in the wind, they can replace a couple of shingles. I just had my roof repaired. They replaced a little spotch of like 5 shingles. It was $175.
So it's worth doing.
Yeah, and I actually had bare plywood showing. This was only a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And so to have your roof inspected can prevent a lot of damage, because if you do allow it to leak, for instance, then your insulation gets wet, your drywall's damaged inside, you have to re-drywall, you have to paint. You have to make sure that gets dried out, because otherwise you get mold. And if you got mold, you got more problems. So that's one way to protect your investment. Check the caulking around the windows, the doors, that kind of thing, so that you don't get water penetration. Because as soon as you get water penetration, then you're going to get rot.
Right.
And when you get rotting wood,
not a good thing.
You got problems. So that's the biggest thing. Keep your quality up inside as well. Regrout tiling, for instance, around tubs. A lot of times people will let that slide a little bit, and you can see the cracks. Now water gets behind there. Now you got a big renovation. You got to take all the tile off, take the drywall off, dry it out, maybe replace some joists if they got, or some studs if they got damaged, and then start all over again. And so a simple bit of maintenance can prevent that. The other thing is update your home slowly as you go along. It will keep it relevant with the rest of the market.
Okay.
That's really how you protect your financial investment in your home and enjoy the living in it at the same time.
So does that lead us into wealth management? Would you tell us a bit about wealth management? Okay,
well, what we're finding is that real estate is a lot of Canadians' largest asset, and their almost accidental way of building wealth, because it's been accumulating equity because their mortgage is getting paid down, and they're getting equity growth because the properties are going up in value. So they're building wealth. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't recognize is that they can wake up that sleepy asset, because your house can become a sleepy asset. Not necessarily when you've got 10, 15% equity in it, or 25 or whatever. But when you start getting 50, 60, 70% equity in your house, a lot of people will go, ooh, this is great. They see the end in sight, you know, where they're going to pay off their mortgage. And that's a good thing. And what they're not realizing is that they could leverage some of that equity, not all of it. You know, I don't want people to not sleep at night. But you could leverage some of that for another piece of property. And some people say, well, that's risky. Now I'm getting, you know. And what I'm saying is it's more like a shell game. What you've done is, if you've got a bunch of equity under this shell and you're in the same market, you got a home, all you're doing is moving some of that into a second home in the same market. So to me, you haven't really created an issue with risk, because you have two properties, same amount of equity in the same market. You've just divided it now between two properties, and now you're going to put a tenant in this one, your second one, and start building wealth through that.
Wow. So that's really interesting. So how do you take, so if you're not in, if you don't have an investment property right now, but you do have a home that could be turned into one, how do you, what is your suggestion for that transition?
You mean you're living in a home and that home might make a great investment property?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first thing you've got to do is decide how much equity you've got in it.
Okay.
And it may be time to remortgage that and pull some of that equity, but make sure that equity, you don't just spend it on something or buy a car or something. So you put that aside.
And that's what a lot of people do, Ken.
Yeah, they do. And so we want to eliminate that thing that says, oh, I should buy a new car. And then we're going to take that money and we're going to start looking for a great investment property.
Okay, great.
Okay, and when I say a great investment property, what I'm selling to a lot of our investors are simple homes, you know, like either a freestanding or a townhome in the 300 range, you know, give or take. It rents easily. It's a good rental price. We tend to like to buy a home that's been upgraded or is relatively new, so there's not a lot of maintenance for the new landlord. So do that. But if you're going to use your own home, like I said, you take the equity out, and now you go look shopping for your next best property. And a lot of people will do this with, say, a townhome, build up some equity in it, then decide, okay, I'm going to turn that into a rental, and I'm going to go buy my nice single home for my family or whatever. You know, not that townhomes aren't nice, just sometimes people's families grow and they get a little tight and they buy too much stuff at Stuff Mart, and suddenly you're bursting at the seams. So sometimes it makes sense to buy a bigger property, or sometimes they want to be in a quieter neighborhood, or a little rural, or out in the out in the country. So lots of things to discuss, and really, the first step to that is make an appointment with us.
Okay.
Let us talk with you, walk you through your dreams and your aspirations, and we're not going to just look at this one transaction, like, oh, I got to buy another house. We'll look holistically at your goals for your life. When do you want to retire? Does it make sense to make this move? Does it not make sense? And we'll give you a valued opinion, if you want to call it an opinion.
And create a plan of some sort.
Create a plan, and then ultimately the decision is yours. If you want to buy that property and you can get the financing for it, or you've got the cash for it, then go ahead and do that. But we want to give you what our best thoughts are on it.
Great.
Well, if you're just joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate, I'm Ken Decker, and I have a guest, Kelly.
And I'm Kelly Crosbie.
Kelly Crosbie's from the beautiful, warm
Panama.
Panama, yeah. And so she's up here in Ottawa visiting and staying with us for a few days, which is awesome.
Yes, it's been wonderful.
And we get to pick her brain on what foreign investments are like, and she's asking me some questions about what it's like to hold real estate in the Ottawa area and build wealth through it and protect your investment. Yeah.
So I had a question for you, Ken, and is this true or false? Can any realtor sell your home?
A That's a good question. True or false? Well, I would say true. Any realtor, the word realtor is a registered trademark, which means they're licensed to trade in real estate in Ontario, and they also are a member of CREA, the Canadian Real Estate Association. And I said Ontario because I only deal with Ontario, but realtors right across Canada. So a realtor from another province cannot sell your home in Ontario.
So what happens if there's someone out of province that's interested in your home? How does that work?
What do you mean by someone?
Or a realtor who has a client and they're out of province. How would you...
They would have to refer that client to an Ontario realtor.
Okay. So it's
and then that person could represent them on their behalf, and usually there's a referral fee that goes back and forth between the realtors just to say thank you.
For sure.
Perfect. For the referral. And then any realtor can sell a home. Any Ontario realtor can sell a home in Ontario, and it's whether they can get the job done or not.
Okay.
Because it comes down to marketing and ability, and at what price can they sell it at. That's really... See, I've found that the general public sometimes thinks that realtors are a commodity.
Oh.
Okay? Like, for instance, if you were going to buy gas, and it was 90 cents a liter at one spot and 95 at another, where would you buy your gas?
Right, at the cheaper gas station.
The cheaper gas. Because we have pretty exacting standards on gasoline, and that gasoline at 90 cents is probably, might even be from the same refinery that made the 95-cent gas.
Right.
Right? So then you got to decide, is that gas station cleaner? Do I need to use the washroom and that one keeps it up better? Or do I need a Timmy's on the way and that one has a Tim Hortons and this one doesn't?
So it comes down to detail.
It might vary, but for the actual gasoline, it's a commodity.
Right.
We'll buy it wherever it's cheaper. Realtors are not commodities. Realtors have different value that they bring to the table, both on experience and whether it's in real estate or their past experience before that as well. Their education, how much continuing education they've done. Are they a sales rep or a broker? Do they have strong negotiating skills? Have they gone to extra courses or reading on those types of things? And then what's their track history? Do they have a history that their average sale price compared to the list price is better than the MLS average or worse? So some people think that they're going to save money by getting a realtor that charges 0.5% or 1% less than another realtor.
That's not what it's all about.
No, it's who's going to put the most amount of money in your pocket, and because that's about
point.
wealth, right?
Right.
It's how well do I buy it, and then how well do I sell it.
And do realtors typically treat a client's home as an investment when they're going through the process of selling it?
That's a good question. I think maybe the Decker team is a little unique that way because we have a strong emphasis on wealth accumulation and wealth building. So we look at it that way. And we also look at it as a lifestyle.
Okay.
Because sometimes you'll make a purchase of a property that's not necessarily for investment purposes. It's because you want to be in a certain school zone, or you need to be a certain distance from your work, or that type of thing, or you want a particular style of property. You want something that's older with charm and character, a Victorian style, or a stone house. And then you're maybe buying with your heart as opposed to your head. And there's a little bit of both, especially for your home. When you're buying in a straight investment property, you're generally mostly buying with your head. And that's one thing we've got to change, not our strategy, but we actually help coach our clients in using the right piece.
So where does that philosophy come from?
That's a good question. Probably decades of experience.
I think so.
Our family lives and breathes real estate. We, Yetta's been closing in on 30 years in real estate.
Amazing. 30 years.
Yeah, I think she was 12 when she started.
Excellent.
And I'm a little over 20 years. And then, there's another decade of experience in our kids in real estate. Plus, they were getting real estate stuff when they were, and actually, one of my grandkids said to me the other day, they want to be a realtor.
I mean,
the
amazing.
7-year-old, she said, I want to be a realtor just like everybody else.
I have a question for you. Would you say that it's really important to teach your kids wealth management from a young age?
Oh, hugely important. Hugely important.
When to start?
When to start? When they're like 2. You're never too early to start teaching them the concept of money and how to earn money. I don't like the concept of an allowance. I think kids should do their normal chores, like keep their room clean and whatever. But if they're doing extra chores, like shoveling the laneway or taking the garbage out or that type of thing, then I think it's okay to have a commission or a reward for doing those type of things for the family. Now, other families will have the opinion that, no, you're part of the family, you do those things just like somebody cooks, somebody washes dishes or whatever, right?
Shared responsibility.
Yeah, shared responsibility in the home. I think is a great way to start to teach some work ethic for a younger child, to give them a chore that they can handle, and to make an agreement around they get payment provided maybe it's you don't have to redo it afterward because they didn't do it well, or maybe it's only payment if you don't have to ask them.
Right.
So it's teaching them that scheduling, the practice of knowing when garbage day is. Now at some point it gets a little stinky if you get it left too many weeks in the garage. And yet teaching your child responsibility that you don't have to ask them, hey, it's garbage day, make sure you take it out.
Right.
For them to actually remember is the only way they're going to get paid.
Right.
So that's one way. Because I think if you create an allowance, you're creating a more welfare kind of atmosphere, an entitlement atmosphere, and that's not a great atmosphere as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what is your advice for me?
For you.
So for me, as I expand and I move into Panama with the franchise, what's your advice as a leader and a very successful businessman here in Ottawa? What has contributed to your successes? If you could give me a couple really key things that really helped you.
Okay. Here we go.
How much time do we have? This is going to be good.
Here we go. First thing is get yourself in a financial situation that you can take an advantage of an opportunity if it comes your way. Okay? Like you wouldn't be buying in to the region or the country of Panama to get the rights to put Keller Williams there if you hadn't made some choices in the past that allowed you to have some available capital to make that happen, right?
True.
And so even if the opportunity existed, you wouldn't have been able to take advantage of it if you hadn't prepared. So the biggest thing is prepare. Because what I think people call luck is when opportunity meets preparedness.
Aha.
Okay? Because you can have all the luck you want. If you're not prepared, you can't take
that opportunity.
You can't take that opportunity. So that's step one. Step two is to look for it. To be actively connected to professionals in whichever field, whether it be stock market, real estate investment, mortgage investments, whatever you want to invest in, be connected with professionals that have access to it and they're watching for you for the right investment opportunity. Okay, so that's step two. Step three, don't get sucked into non-investments. Like it's okay to buy something for its intrinsic value in your lifestyle.
Okay.
For instance, a boat. Okay, I saved up to buy a boat. I actually bought some stocks in a company and then it did well. And so when I cashed them in, I took the growth that I'd made and I bought a boat because I don't believe you should buy toys on credit. You buy
Perfect.
cash for toys.
Toys.
So I bought a boat. It was 10 years old. It was in great condition. It's now like 20 years old. I still have the same boat. And we can take the grandkids out on it and that kind of stuff, right? So look for the opportunities for even your lifestyle things. Because whatever you save there, you can invest in something that's going to grow money.
Into an opportunity.
Into an opportunity, that's right. And then what's beautiful is once you start accumulating wealth, you can start giving even more. Even more.
Which is a really important component. Thank you, Ken.
It's been wonderful, and I've got a couple properties that I would be remiss if I didn't highlight. One is in Riverside South. It's $799. It's a very big home. Very big home. Backs the ravine. Very contemporary, lovely property with security features built in, electronic stuff built in. It's a really, really nice property. It even has 2 ensuite bathrooms.
Ooh, nice.
For those that maybe have an in-law to live with them.
Perfect.
Or somebody that, has those teenagers that want their own retreat.
Their own
they need their own
privacy.
space. Yeah, so this is an awesome home. Riverside South, it's access to buses. This is on a cul-de-sac too, so there's no traffic going down your street virtually at all, except for the people that live there.
No noise.
Very quiet and backing the ravine. It's awesome. So give us a call if that's of interest. And then the second property I'd like to highlight is kind of like a little bit different. It's in Manor Park, nice area. It's a condominium at $279, 2 bedroom, 2 bath.
So affordable.
Yeah, affordable and a nice lifestyle. You know, little maintenance, little anything to do, right?
So right move-in condition.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So if you'd like information on those properties or any other properties on the Ottawa Real Estate Board and the surrounding area, we'd be delighted to help you. Just give us a call at 613-860-4663. That number again is 613-860-4663. And you can always email us your questions for future shows. We'd love to answer them at info@dekkerteam.com. That's DEKKERTEAM.com. And we're looking forward to serving you. Please call us 613-860-4663. Bye for now.
What you wanna do?